I was going to say.
No, this is the live stream. I like kind of starting the live stream with a really loose, like, hello. Hang on, my damn wallet is in my pocket and it's killing me. There we go. Anyway, hello live stream. We are officially here, so relatively relaxed night tonight. It's not going to be a whole lot of news or anything like that because there's not a lot of news to dive over, anything like that.
Nothing interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, hello. You guys will hear us on the podcast as per usual. And we're going to start it now because I don't really have anything else to tell the live streamers. You ready, Dave?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Alrighty, welcome to the Drivers Only Podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm David.
And this is episode 130.
Nice.
Seriously, dude. That is, every time we get to some... Hang on, I'm trying to get this so I can see it. Every time we get to some benchmark, it's like... I know it's a minor benchmark, like 130, but still, every time I get to like 30 or 25 or 50 or something like, you're like, whoa, and it's not any different, but it still surprises the hell out of me.
Yeah,
it's a lot of episodes.
It is.
But I mean, and weeks. That's the thing is, it's not, it's once a week. It's not like we're doing this every day.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. It's amazing the passage of time that it illustrates. Really.
Have you ever gone back and listened to any of the old episodes before?
No.
They're kind of funny to go back and listen to. Not because they're actually like humorous episodes. There's a lot of. As far as comedy is concerned, the episode's better. Like they are funnier episodes because Drake, David, Lee, and I are all sitting together, and that makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But as far as the content is concerned, it's not quite as strong.
Probably just mostly arguments.
Yeah, it's a lot of arguments. But it's funny to listen to, like when we would do some news and you talk about like, oh, the new Viper's out.
Oh wow,
that was years ago. Like
wow,
it's stuff you hear stuff like that, and it's kind of funky. Or I wonder what the new NSX will be like.
That's so weird.
Well, we know what the new NSX is like now, obviously. I mean, but it's kind of fun to dive back into time and listen to that kind of stuff. These are not green episode or evergreen episodes by any stretch of the imagination, but nonetheless, David, how are you?
I'm all right. A little tired. How are you?
I'm fine. Nothing fancy. I'm definitely tired. It's full swing tournament season now at work. So yeah,
I will.
Like I'm starting at 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say a quick note. Florida is terrible right now. It's good from now basically until March is gonna suck.
Yeah, I will say, I think we need to give some of our northern fans a little bit of credit. You guys are doing something unreal right now, having to deal with that weather.
Oh yeah,
that sucks. Like we're both from up north. That's cold.
Yeah,
that's a new kind of cold. Like I said before the podcast, it is minus 20 in Michigan.
Would you rather deal with the cold temperature or snowbirds?
How long? Of each.
A week of snowbirds or a couple days of the cold?
Week of snowbirds.
Yeah.
That cold? That much cold?
Yeah, that cold.
Yeah. A week of snowbirds.
The snowbirds are so bad.
But if you're telling me a season of snowbirds versus a week of that kind of cold,
that.
I'll take that
cold,
kind of cold
for sure.
Yeah. No, the
Every
season
time.
is so rough, man. Like I get they drive our economy and everything like that, but they're always in the way.
Yes.
How have they not I get they're in a new city. I get this is not their state. I get all that stuff. They are somehow successfully in the way all the time.
Everywhere.
It's slow. Slow.
Yeah. I had a guy, I was at a 4-way intersection the other day, and I come up to it, and he was on my left, and I didn't know this at the time, but he was making a right, and he had gotten there first, and so I'm waiting at this 4-way stop, and he has no indicator, and so I'm just waiting, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, go. Like, I stopped.
Yeah.
And then he made a right, and I was like, I just wasted 20 seconds of my life waiting for that to unfold. And it's stuff like that. You think, oh, that's not a big deal. It happens every
it's
minute.
all over the place. Yeah, it's not. That's a thing, and that's exactly the right point about the snowbirds. It's not
constant.
Yeah, it's not that the inconvenience is that large. It's that it is a consistent inconvenience from January 10th, 8th, 10th, something like that, all the way until like April 10th.
Yeah,
and it is just these minute things that pisses everyone off in any state, any given state, that they probably wouldn't ever do in their own state. And they just consistently do here. And it causes,
I've seen so many amazing U-turns, cutting across all the lanes. Like being stationary in one lane, that's a turn lane.
I mean, they're not, here's the thing, is like a snowbird shall never be inconvenienced.
No. No. They're here for leisure. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever they want, they get it now.
Yeah. But if
And
you're
it's usually at
inconvenienced-
rush hour.
Yeah, but if you're inconvenienced,
Oh, it
that's a
doesn't
you
matter.
problem.
Yeah.
That's not a them problem.
No.
So
Anyway,
yeah, that's our rant on
it's
snowbirds.
really annoying. But also, I am not driving the S2000 today.
Should I ask why?
Well, I drove it to Daytona. We'll talk about that later. Or not Daytona, to Drake's house.
Okay.
Which was a nice drive. I figured, you know what? I got to drive the damn thing.
How is it on the highway? And
Awful.
Kind of highway.
Awful.
Worse than the Miata?
Yes.
Really?
Because the Miata, the noise is bad from the wind.
Yeah.
The S2000 is just annoying because at 80 miles an hour, the engine's at like 4,500 RPM.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's just, and I'm just like, I can't take this. I was doing 70 miles an hour and even then it's at 35, and I'm just, I can't take this. The engine just, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It needs a taller 6 gear.
That was one of my complaints with the Del Sol. Like it was great on the highway. It tracked well, or like tracked really well. It was quiet and stuff like that. But you could just feel the vibration of the engine working its ass off. I think it was like at 38 or something like that, 3,800 RPM, somewhere in there.
Everything else was fine. The driving characteristics were totally fine, easy to drive. I mean, the seat was terrible.
Really?
Yes, so bad on a long drive.
The Miata seats are pretty comfortable.
Yes, and especially
very ugly, but very comfortable.
Yes. So that really annoyed me. Honestly, I'd rather have like a fixed bucket seat than that. The problem is it has lumbar support, but the lumbar support doesn't fit me. And
is it too high?
Yeah. So
really?
Yeah, and so it makes it worse.
That's really odd considering how big the car is, right?
Yeah.
So why would you mount a lumbar support that is not going to fit an individual that would be most likely to purchase the car?
I don't know.
Because if I got in the car and I complained, all right, the lumbar's too low, you're gonna go, well, yeah.
But it's annoying to me that there's no adjustment. Like, I hate lumbar. I always take it out of my seats because it never fits me.
Okay.
And most cars have that option, and it's nice. And this dealing with that is basically, I have this hole. It's like having a hole in the bottom of the seat, and my back was just it sucked. I was very uncomfortable. And then the engine, but everything else was great. Car drove fine, no issues. And then I got home, parked it, and I went to go get something out of the trunk the next morning, and I couldn't pop the trunk. I was like, that's weird. And
couldn't
go
pop
back
it with a key. Couldn't
no,
pop it with.
Well, no, I could do it with a key, but at first, I hit the button and it just kind of went. There was like a soft click, and I was like, odd. And then next thing I know, I'm like, something's not right. And so I went to go try the lights. Lights didn't turn on. I'm like, okay, the battery's dead. I was like, is the battery shot? Did I just somehow make it home at the perfect time? Or what happened here? It turns out there's a little plastic piece mounted to the top of the brake pedal that operates the brake lights. And that little plastic piece broke. So the brake lights were on all night.
Oh, and it drained the battery. Okay.
And it was funny because once I realized it, because I looked it up to see, like, because eventually I realized that the brake lights were on. And so I looked it up, and it turns out it's a thing that happens. It's happened to other people, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I looked down at the carpet and I found all these little pieces of plastic." And I'm like, "Okay, let me go check that out." I look in the carpet, a bunch of pieces of the little thing that operated the light switch. So yeah, so the brake lights are stuck on, which is really annoying.
I would imagine.
A tiny part, and the car drives fine. I was able to jump it and charge the battery.
But it's effectively disabled because if you drive it anywhere, it's going to be dead again.
Yeah. Well, no, it'll still charge, but the problem is my brake lights are always on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in which case it is also completely not drivable.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's really, really annoying. So I'm going to go to either order some parts online or go to the Honda dealer this weekend. And it's a teeny little plastic
it's your
piece.
Second car, order parts online.
Yeah. Yeah. But it just cracked me up. I was like, what like when I went in the garage, I was like, okay, what happened here? This doesn't make any sense. And then I saw the lights were on. I'm like, okay, the brake lights are on. How the hell would that happen?
Was your first thought, the taillights are on, but they seem really bright?
No, they were dim at this point.
Oh, okay.
But I was still like, how the hell are the brake lights on? You know what I mean? I was like, that doesn't. What would keep the brake lights on, but no other light? And it turns out that little piece.
So it's just bad design.
Yeah, but it's just really annoying.
Yeah, that sucks.
And then I was like, how far was I driving? From Drake's house with the brake lights stuck on.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. People were probably really mad at me and confused.
This guy's just riding his brakes all the time. He's not gonna have any pads left.
Yeah, but no coilovers yet. Hopefully next week sometime.
Cool.
And then put those on, and then probably once they go on, I'll order wheels and tires. And
any further decision on the wheels?
No, I'm still confused. Okay. I saw while we were at Daytona, I was talking to a guy who had a black AP1, and he had 17x9 plus 45 RPF ones. And I was asking him about the fitment, and he said, "Yeah, you kind of just got to pick two. It's a pick two scenario. You either get brake clearance and no rubbing, or you get no brake clearance, no. Okay, the three things that you need are big brake clearance, clearance, fitment from the fender to the tire, and a wide tire. You can't have all three."
Okay.
So you have to pick two. He went for the wide tire and no rubbing, but
it strikes me as the wide tire is something that would be the most beneficial to sacrifice.
Yeah, I go back and forth though because it looked like damn good.
Do you need big brakes? Like, are the brakes bad?
The brakes aren't bad, but I want the option.
Yeah, you don't want to buy brakes. You don't want to buy wheels and then literally eliminate the option.
Yeah, it's like, I wish I had more braking power. Too bad I have to buy another set of wheels, which I guess isn't the end of the world, but yeah, still confused.
Fair enough.
We'll see. I'll make the decision on the spot.
So, speaking of brakes, I did all of mine.
Okay.
All four corners. I did the pads over the this past weekend. Yeah, this past weekend. So at least since the previous podcast. Okay. I had ordered brake pads and got them in prior to going up to Winter Haven, expecting, well, we already got the wheels off, might as well throw some pads on. Real easy, right? And I ordered them for the rear because I thought the rear were more problematic. Because when I had replaced the rotors on the front because they were really bad, but the rotors on the rear were not. And then in replacing the rotors on the front, I realized, the pads are not that bad. There's still quite a bit of life on them. Fine, we'll leave it. Okay. Then the rotors, I get a brake pad light essentially on my dash. It says, like brake wear or whatever. And I thought, well, it's probably the rear rotors, and I felt it. There's quite a big lip. Okay, let's replace the rear rotors. I look at the rear rotors, or the rear pads rather, while I'm replacing the rotors, and decide that I need pads as well.
Okay.
So, ordered rear pads. Well, rear pads didn't come. Pads came, but rear pads didn't. It was front pads.
That's annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying, but then I went and found another set of pads online at conveniently, I don't remember where I ordered them from. AutoZone maybe. But Brembo was running a big sale on their pads. So I got a set of rear Brembo pads for the car, and I had essentially all four corners on accident, but I was like, shit, let's just do it all together. It literally replace every single pad at the exact same mileage. Screw it. Leave it at that.
Okay.
No problems replacing any of them. Really easy to do. The only thing that's really annoying is the brake pad sensor. The clips on them, when you pull them out, then become very weak. Once they get put back in, they're not a single time use thing, but the tension on the clasp is not the same once they've been removed.
That's annoying.
If that makes sense. So, occasionally I'll get it. It's happened to me once so far. I would imagine it'll probably happen again at some point. But like I've replaced all of the pads and all of the rotors. My whole brake system is new within 5,000 miles.
Okay.
And occasionally I'll get a light, or one time I'll get a light. Or I've gotten a light, and it says brake pad wear. And I have a feeling that means the sensor has popped out or something like that. But it hasn't happened. Thankfully, it has not happened to me within the last probably couple of weeks.
Okay.
So that's the good news. Also ordered a brand new air filter for the car. Yeah.
Cool. An intake or
no, just the
filter.
Just the filter. Yeah. I didn't want to go full bore intake because I didn't. I spend $40 on an air filter, or I spend $320 on an intake. I spend $320 on an intake, and I don't have the IPD plenum that's going to increase the throttle body, the size of the throttle body that's actually going to make use of the amount of air that I can pull in with that intake.
Okay.
So my thought process is get the plenum, then do the intake.
Okay.
But I did take...
Now, I know they call it a plenum, but isn't it? It's not even really...
It is a big metal chunk.
Yeah, but I think of the plenum as like the actual intake, sort of the whole manifold. I've seen it referred to as the plenum.
If I were to show you what it is,
isn't it? It's like a teeny part, isn't it?
No, it's not very small at all.
No,
I mean it's like probably this big.
Okay.
But here's the before and after, and I had actually removed the other one and cleaned it.
That is quite
and then
dirty.
Put it back in, and yeah,
those are entirely different
viewers,
colors.
I don't know if you can get an idea. It's
the yellow one is the
it's
clean
not in
one.
focus. Obviously, the yellow one's the clean one. Yeah, but yeah, major difference.
Well,
I hadn't noticed anything really with the power gains, but I haven't gotten on it, so I don't know if maybe that was
you'd notice anything.
No,
like that.
My only thought process is maybe it's freed up a little bit, just because it's not going to be restricted by a bunch of dirt and grime and stuff like that.
You might feel better response, maybe.
But... Yeah. And then the final thing rather with the car. So I meant to show you this before the podcast, but forgot to. The rattling noise that we were hearing with the exhaust, right?
Yeah.
Thought maybe there was a loose piece or something like that. Didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about this.
Well, my exhaust got really, really unsettled, right? It was like the pipes were not even at all. They weren't perfectly even when we mounted them, but they have gotten so bad to the point where you can't walk past the car without noticing that they are uneven. And I get under the car today. I'm like, I got to make this adjustment. This is annoying me at this point. I know I need to move it away from the bumper. It does get a little close to the bumper and sometimes rubs on there. I don't want to melt the bumper. Fine. So I get under there and I'm about to jack the car up and I look at something. I'm like, man, that's not right. And I'm wiggling it around a little bit. There is a full-blown broken weld on one of the hangers. Yeah. So that's where the rattling is coming from.
Do it.
It's where you got your tailpipes here pointed at me, right?
Yeah.
And then they go in this way and then come out this way, right? To each muffler. And then there's a hanger between there. The hanger on this side is not connected to the one muffler anymore.
I wonder how long.
It must have been really close and then finally broke because it's changed its tone now.
Really?
Yeah. It almost sounds supercharged right now. It's really weird with the way it rattles.
Huh.
But yeah, it's so I'm gonna talk to our mechanic at work today, or tomorrow rather, and see if I can just rip it off really quickly and have him just tack weld it. Because it doesn't need.
Can you access it with everything on the car?
No, I'll have to remove the muffler.
That's annoying.
It's not that bad. Because it's
just the muffler section. I guess it's not too bad.
Yeah, I don't have to remove it from the header or anything like that. And we have a lift at work with 3.
Oh,
so we're fine. Just jack the
car up.
What
do
you
normally put on the lifts?
All of the mowers and stuff like that.
Oh,
when you got to change blades or
it seems like overkill for a mower.
Do you know how big the damn mowers are?
I've clearly underestimated how big your mowers are.
I might have a photo. But anyway, so I want to put the car up on the lift, and like what I'm going to tell them is the same thing I essentially told Drake when I had gotten the because I had purchased it with a broken weld. It's not the same weld. That's broken this time, but
the only thing you got to be careful of.
I don't care how pretty it is. It just needs to hold.
Well, you just got to make sure that you fit it in like the exact same location. Otherwise, you're going to change the position of the tailpipe.
Yeah, I understand. Here, these are some of the mowers. So we had.
Oh yeah, those are.
Those are very big.
This is all coming back to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are not like those are the small mowers in the front.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not. They're.
How much do they weigh?
I would imagine our bigger, like our 4500 units, which are like the large rough units. those have got to be anywhere from 4 to 8,000 pounds, something like that. I would think.
Wow.
Yeah, they've got 5 decks on them,
Hmm.
and each deck has a blade that's probably close to 48 inches. So I mean, we have 87 acres of grass. We can do the entire thing in a day, but that takes 5 rough units, 2 fairway units, and when I say do it in a day, that means 12 hours of cutting.
And everybody,
yeah,
doing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a lot. But anyway, I want to jack it up on lift, and just because we have all the equipment there to weld it and stuff like that. It doesn't need to be pretty. It's under the car. I don't give a shit. It's not going to show or anything of that sort. So if that's the case, sorry, we've been invaded by dogs, and I'm trying to remove the cord.
How'd that happen?
I would imagine our fans have probably heard them barking for some reason. Jill is not here, and normally they get really lonely because. Yeah, perfect example. Just lays down next to us. That's all they needed. But anyway, I'm trying to keep the cord away from them.
Here, put it here.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There we go. So yeah, just pop that up on the lift, weld it, and call it a day. I don't need it to be pretty.
I'm glad you found what it was, because I noticed it was getting worse, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, is it the inside of the muffler that's falling apart?
That was my major concern, was if the inside of the muffler is getting bad, that means I've got to buy a new exhaust.
Yeah,
and that's not cheap. And I love the way this one sounds.
Yeah.
Like this, I think I love it. I can't get enough of that sound, so I don't really want to try to find another exhaust.
It'll probably sound a lot better once you weld it.
Yeah, it'll just it'll go back to how we mounted it.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice. And then as far as plans for the car, I don't really have anything at the moment. The wedding's getting really, really close, so that's kind of on my mind more. Can't spend too much money. And I just bought coilovers within the last month, so it's not like I'm going to be buying a bunch of stuff. I think probably the next thing will be that plenum, the IPD plenum.
Turbo.
Well, if I turbo it, I'm going to need that IPD plenum anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just beneficial. More air, more power.
I'll tell you something.
It's usually how those work, isn't it?
Yes. I don't know if it's because of the S2000 and because I forgot how many aftermarket parts are out there, or because I just hung out with Drake. But I'm really into custom cars now again, like modified cars.
So you did send me a quite wide Aero Kit styled S2000 the other day.
Yeah.
And told me that you're starting to like these. Let's talk about that a little bit, because this is so not David.
It's not. I've never been a big fan of that kind of stuff, especially on the street. Like, if you want to make a track car, I mean, do whatever.
It's a different story.
Yeah, but like street cars, it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know. But no, just the more I've been involved, like looking at S2000s online and seeing all the different things, like all the tuning kits, like proper tuning kits, not just like, oh, just throw an APR wing on it. No, there's companies out there who, like, there's a Muse, Spoon. There's another one that starts with an A, ASM, that make these parts for cars like the S2000. I mean, they're their own parts, you know. Okay. Like, they design a front bumper, and then they design a diffuser, they design a rear wing, a hood, everything to work together. And it's just, I don't know.
You don't really cool. You don't want to piece them.
Not
together.
Necessarily.
You don't want to take one from APR, or not APR, one from ASM, one from Spoon, one from, because they all work in unison with their own parts.
Yeah, like the Spoon kit, for example. Most people have seen it. The one with the headlights and the front bumper. It's kind of polarizing, the looks. You either love it or you hate it. Mm-hmm. But it's extremely functional, you know. And then the hardtop, the Spoon Fastback, that was designed by a motorsports company, you know. So it's designed for aerodynamics. Like, it's
gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's no different than a GT3 RS, really, when you think about it. It's just the aftermarket is doing it instead of Porsche. And I just think it's really cool how it's just, I think it's the effort that they put into this stuff. It's not just just stick a wing on it. It's like no, let's design a wing for this car specifically.
Maybe this is just me. But my kind of theory in the process of building a car, and I use that term kind of loosely because it's not like you're rebuilding the engine or anything of that sort.
Yeah.
But I want to gain power first. I'd rather have the car look like a sleeper or act as a sleeper rather.
Yeah.
Where it's quietly quick and does all the things that you want it to do, right?
Yeah.
And then start to add the aero stuff. Do you get that same kind of mentality, or is it?
Yeah, no. This isn't the stuff that I want to do the S2000 right now. I have a list of things that I want to do.
Yeah,
and none of them involve aero or body kit stuff.
Out of curiosity, does keeping it naturally aspirated is that a thing, or are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for this car, if anything, I would supercharge it. But
right,
to me, it's not a go fast car. It's I want everything to feel good. Yeah. So I want the brake pedal to feel nice.
You need tires more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest.
No, for sure. Once I get tires and coilovers, I might say, you know what? This is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I really need to change anything. But I'm going to swap out the steering wheel just because I want the steering to feel better.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a way. I do know that there are some sort of solid steering rack bushings that I can get.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully get a little more feedback out of the steering.
I did order one more thing for the Cayman. Remind me to talk about that after.
But just stuff like that, stuff that'll improve how the car feels on a drive, not necessarily how fast it is. Okay. That's the stuff I want to do first, and then maybe once I do all of that and I've got nothing else left to do to it, I'll probably start going, the bumper might look nice, or I could do that.
Yeah.
Because
that's kind of where I get with where I'm at with the Cayman at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do wheels, tires, and suspension, that's your big purchases, right?
Yeah.
With the exception of like going non-naturally aspirated. Mm-hmm. If you're going forced induction, then that's your big purchase.
That's expensive.
But that's roughly the equivalent of an engine swap at that at least for the Cayman at that point.
Yeah.
It's like a $10,000 kit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For what? How much power?
For a turbo. It depends on the stage that you want to go into. But
roughly
you can, I think stage 1 is like a 90 horsepower gain at least.
For $10,000.
Something like that. Yeah, but you can still go more. The thing is, so the initial, if I remember correctly, the initial price is not, it's been a while since I've looked this up, so don't quote me on this. But the initial price is like, let's say it's $10,000 for 90-ish horsepower and 90-ish pounds-feet of torque or whatever.
Yeah.
It's another like $200 and you get like another 70 horsepower or something. Like the gain to what they're effectively trying to do is get you to go spend all of the money and get the kit that's worth it. Like, so I don't know. Maybe I'll do that eventually with the Cayman.
Yeah.
I like the idea of keeping it naturally aspirated.
Yeah.
Especially considering it's getting to be relatively high mileage and I don't want to do forced induction and then blow the damn thing up.
Yeah, see, you have the problem of if you blow up the Cayman, that's really bad.
Yeah, what engine do you put in there?
Yeah, you have to put the flat 6 in there. And how much is like the 2.7?
I don't know. What
I've never looked. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what the 2.7 costs, but every Porsche engine, flat 6 engine that I've ever bothered looking up at this point that would be even remotely justifiable to put in there is around the $10,000 mark.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, could you put a 996 engine in it?
I think they're around the like $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 mark. Yeah,
wow.
I mean, it's like they're still insanely expensive. It's not like at that point you almost go, well, might as well do the LS swap. Yeah. I don't want to do it, but I might as well.
Jesus, yeah. See, I could buy if I wanted to. I could buy a spare K20 or a spare F20 for probably around $1,000. So
that's not.
It's
feasible.
Like okay, if I blow this up, it's like well, it would suck. But I'm not like totally out of commission. I could get another engine.
I think if I remember correctly, the engine code for the Cayman is at M90. It's been a while since I've looked it up, but it's something like that. And I mean, if that happens, that car is going to sit in the garage. I'm going to have a second car by the time that happens anyway.
Yeah,
hopefully. I mean, barring anything out of nowhere. Well, here's the thing: is if that engine, let's say that engine blows up tomorrow, right?
Yep.
I'm going to go get an Abarth at that point because they're so damn cheap. It's still a fun car, and I can make that work for a while until I decide to rebuild that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean if that engine goes, or when that engine goes, it will likely end up getting the Cayman S engine with the gearbox, just because
That'd be a
why
cool
not?
swap.
Like you might as well at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if
unless I can find a 997 turbo engine or something, like you get a good deal on something, barring stellar deals.
Yeah, I don't know. If I blew up the S2000, I would definitely debate doing like a Monster K24 swap.
The K24 would be really interesting because you wouldn't get the high RPMs that you currently have.
Psh, you can still get over 8,000.
You can, but all right. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
You say you can still get over 8,000.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest complaint between the AP1 and the AP2? It doesn't go to 9.
Well, yeah.
So
no, it's the fact that it goes to 9. Yeah.
But getting the torque, I mean, that K24 is going to give you 215, 220 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah,
at
but
least.
you can make like 300 horsepower naturally aspirated.
Right.
Which
right. No, I understand, but the difference isn't necessarily the horsepower. The major difference is the torque. Because what does your car come with stock in torque? Like 130,
150,
100.
What?
Actually, 150?
Yeah,
or
150.
Okay.
See, I've explained this before. It's not the lack of torque, it's the lack of power. It has enough torque. Like it's not that
it has
it's
enough
not
torque in the right rev range. It has no torque until you get into like 12,475 billion RPMs.
It feels sluggish because it has no power below 6. Like the engine isn't accelerating; it's pulling.
That's right. Yes, I understand that, but the problem.
But that's not the torque; it's the There's no power down low.
But more torque overall is going to help that still. I don't like. Yeah. You can keep the exact same power delivery, but if you have now 215 pounds-feet of torque instead of 150, it's going to make a gigantic difference.
Yeah, it's like that'd be like driving a GTI,
right?
But
what
I'm saying
is still the problem in this car.
But it's not lacking torque. It has the same amount of torque as an FRS or anything comparable. It has the same amount of torque.
I would say it feels the same. It feels, as far as how fast it feels, it's the same as the FRS.
Yeah.
If not faster.
Yeah.
So that's not saying much because we always call the FRS ridiculously slow.
Yeah. But I'm just saying for a 2-liter engine, it's not the lack of torque. To me, it's the lack of power down low because the engine doesn't accelerate. It just kind of goes, whoa. It's like that.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how much it would change with a super lightweight flywheel.
Well, I think the flywheel is already pretty light, which also makes it feel difficult. Like when you pull away in that car, you have to give it a little more revs.
You have to get a ton of gas.
Yeah, it just really doesn't want to move.
Amount of gas, yeah.
So I think that all those things combined make it feel really sluggish down low. And then once you get to 6, it takes off, which then amplifies how slow it feels down low.
Well, the problem is it forces you to drive quickly, right?
Yeah.
And there's nowhere here that you could drive quickly. It's just it's the wrong car for here, but it's awesome. And like I would never say get rid of it. It's just unfortunately we're in the wrong place. We just need to make a lot of money and buy a track.
It's funny you say that because I was looking up roads on Google Maps the other day, and
as has everyone with a driver's car in the state of Florida.
It's real depressing. But then I was like, okay, so if I had the choice, and I'm literally just on Google Maps here, I'm like, where would I go? Let me just look at the roads. Like in the future, maybe 10 years from now, I decide I want to go somewhere with really nice roads, and I want to be able to go from my house within 10 minutes, find a mountain road or something. And at first I start looking in the Carolinas, and I'm like, okay, there's some cool stuff over here. It's not too bad, but it's not that great, I guess. And then I start going further west. And I look at California as a benchmark. Amazing roads everywhere. And then I looked at Colorado, and Colorado is awesome. There are so many awesome roads in Colorado, and it has Pikes Peak, which is fantastic, and the views are amazing.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I would totally. I know nothing about Colorado, but I would totally go there just to drive the roads.
I have numerous reasons I would not move to Colorado or California.
No, I don't want to. I would not go to California.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons I would not go to specific states in particular.
Yeah.
And the problem is most of the states that I would want to go to
They're all bad drivers.
probably don't have the best driving roads. To keep it as apolitical as possible, I like keeping my money. Let me put it that way. So if I can get to a state that lets me keep my money, that's more important than a driving road to me.
See, I'd rather have. I mean, at some point, I'd rather have the driving road. Right now, I don't think I could really make it work. But
Here's the thing too. We complain a lot about driving roads, right?
Yeah.
And this is not super practical, but we're all of 2 hours away from where Drake lives in Winter Haven. That's got a lot of pretty decent driving roads. They're not California, they're not Colorado.
No.
Don't get me wrong.
No.
But they're pretty solid driving roads. And we like to complain a lot about not having any, it even remotely accessible. 2 hours away is not that bad.
No, I know. I just think, like, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I don't know if I want to go my entire life not having access to them.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? It's just like,
that's why I want to make enough money to build a track in my backyard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I had access to a track, because the other thing about, like, some people might be thinking, oh, just do a track day, and yes,
no, don't do a track day.
I mean, yes, I would love to do a track day, but one, it's expensive. I'm sorry, it just is.
Yeah, it's really hard in the car.
Yeah, especially compared to driving on the street. And the other thing is, I don't necessarily want to drive 10 tenths. I mean, that's fun, but with my street car, I just want to go for a ride and, enjoy the sound, enjoy the view, and drive around at like 7 tenths. That's what I'm looking for, that experience.
The problem with people that look at a track day and they go, or that think of individuals that like to go driving on driving roads and then say, well, why don't you just go to a track day? They're not understanding it, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, what's the best thing about when you go on a drive? You're alone.
It clears your head.
Yep. There's nothing there. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just you and your car.
Exactly.
Are you and your car on a track?
No,
not even remotely close.
Thinking about a million things.
Yeah.
No, that's it. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Is I don't want to go for a drive on a mountain road to go 10 tenths and be at the limit. You know what I mean? I want to do that to just clear my head and relax and enjoy the experience. And if you don't get that, then you like a different kind of driving.
That's why muscle cars make so much sense down here, in particular.
Yeah,
because you
just
get
cruise around.
Yeah, you cruise around. You get like when you had the Mustang, you get or even when I had the 944, you get your little burst of speed. Your way too fast pull out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and then you get it out of your system, and you're like, all right, I'm good.
You just cruise around, enjoy the noise.
When I had the 944, I was never searching for great driving roads. Now that I have the Cayman, I'm like, I really want to go find a good driving road.
Yeah, it's true. I think especially now that I got the S2000, it's like I have this wonderful tool, for driving enjoyment.
That's right.
And I have nowhere to really use it.
That's right. But you never had that thought when you had the Mustang.
No.
Yeah,
the Mustang fit in here. It's just the only thing about that is I needed to modify it more.
It was a shockingly bad car from stock.
Yes.
Like, it's really cool looking,
but it's truly bad.
Yeah, it's like I've driven a Camaro casually. I've driven the Corvette. I test drove the Corvette that I was going to buy, the Z06, right?
Yeah.
That Z06 was so leaps and bounds better in so many ways than the Mustang.
I don't doubt it.
Like, it's not. And the thing was, like, the Mustang appearance-wise is so much better to be in. You get in the car and you're like, this looks nice. But then you start touching things and it's worse or as bad. Not worse, because that early GM stuff is really bad.
Pretty bad.
So I won't say worse, but it's at least as bad or very, very close. And then you start to do all the driving dynamics and stuff like that, and it just feels like a lowered truck. And it's just
exactly what it is.
It's not.
It feels like an old school muscle car.
There's so much wrong with it. There's so much wrong with it. Yeah, and I've never driven like your dad's Camaro or Chevelle or anything like that. So
truly, because
how similar is the Mustang to that?
Pretty close. The steering is
steering is atrocious in the Mustang.
It was a lot tighter. Like an old muscle car is pretty loose. The old steering box.
Yeah.
But to me, it's because I've driven a couple trucks, and one of them.
The thing about a steering box is you can get them tuned, right? You go into the shop, you get them tuned, and then as the driver backs out of the garage, you have to drive it back in to get tuned again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But no, I drove a Chevy Silverado from I want to say like 2000s era. Okay.
And just stay in a pickup truck.
Yeah. And I drove that, and then the next weekend I drove the Chevelle. I kid you not, it felt exactly the same. If you blindfolded me, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It felt so similar.
Okay.
So that's what a muscle car actually drives like.
Interesting.
But it's more fun because it's loud and it looks cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'd like to experience one at the very least. Like even if I'm sitting in the passenger seat, I do want to, because I don't think I've ever been in either one of them.
No, I don't think we've ever been in there at the same time.
No.
You'll have to come up for Cars and Coffee.
Yeah.
Especially now in season. It's probably good stuff.
Yeah. And now that my car actually looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. We should do that whenever the next one is. I don't know.
So really quickly, before we dive into some news, because this is already a pretty long episode. We wanted this to be more of a ranty style episode where it was just kind of us talking about our cars and stuff like that. We're already at the 40-minute mark.
Oh.
But
I guess we should talk about Daytona.
Yeah, I will. But really quickly before that, so the part that I said that I ordered for my car, I did order a short shifter.
Nice. For it. Which one?
Just your standard like eBay one. And the only reason I went with that, and I can hear all of our fans right now. Everybody,
I'm a little confused right now.
Right, I can hear everybody that listens to our podcast going, "This dude just ordered Godspeed coilovers for his Cayman, and now he's got an eBay shifter." It's exactly the same as the B&M. China has full blown ripped it off and sold it for $250 less.
But is it gonna last?
If it doesn't, then I put the other one back in. Here's the thing: if it doesn't last and it doesn't work, it's $50.
It was $50.
$50.
That's alarming.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, all right, I'll try it. I'll see how it goes.
That's
right. Okay,
I say it. I see what you're saying. It's so cheap that who cares?
Yeah.
I can't see it lasting more than a couple months.
I don't think it will. And if it doesn't, then that's when I start to go order some other stuff. Maybe the really nice big long one.
Okay, so you're testing that. You're seeing if you want to short shift it really.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So this is trial by fire for the shifter, not for me. If that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean,
what's the big CAE one? That's like $800 or.
I've seen them as low as $650, but that's only when they're on sale. They're usually hovering around $800 to $1,000.
That's the kind of thing you buy on like Black Friday sale or something.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, I like the idea of that, but it's still my daily driver, and you remove your center console for that.
Oh. Well,
your whole center stack essentially. Like it doesn't look pretty, but it's awesome. It looks pretty because of what it is. It doesn't look pretty because it doesn't. You could tell it's not factory. Like it's really not factory.
I've seen them in like GT3s and stuff, and even in a GT3, you're like, oh my god, that looks serious.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it feels amazing, and I would absolutely kill to put one in the car.
I'm curious because it's a cable shifter.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how good that can feel, compared to something like that goes directly in the gearbox.
Yeah. Well, and there's another tool I need to order as well before I get this shifter. I keep forgetting to do it, but there's an adjustment tool, and you literally clip it on, and then you disconnect the cables and you reconnect the cables, and it automatically, like, it's just this plastic piece that holds the shift lever where it's supposed to be, and then by removing the tension from the cables and then putting them back into place, it gets them in the right setting, essentially.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I need to order that piece, so that way when I'm in there, I'll
so is this shifter going to come with bushings and stuff?
Yeah, it does come with bushings. Like I'll show it to you after the podcast. It's shocking how like every company at this point has ripped B&M off. They came up with a great design. The problem is the shifter from Porsche has not changed since the 986 Boxster generation.
Oh, really?
So the 996, the 986, the 997, and the 987 all have the exact same shifter.
Sounds about
which
right.
is why this part has gotten so cheap. Because B&M came up with a great one for whether it was the 996 or the 986 first. They came up with that generation of Porsche really early, and then China went, well, we don't like you guys. We'll come up with our own design, and literally just ripped it off.
Yeah.
And now it's being sold for nothing. So that's why that's why I was more okay with buying such a cheap part.
I'm interested to see what the fitment and everything is like.
Yeah, I am too.
Because you hear some really bad horror stories, and then there's also it's not that bad.
Right. And here's the thing: is it's a shifter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like it's not this. Yeah, it's integral to driving the car, but it's not going to stop me from putting any gear, is it? It's just going to. It might be.
Well,
it's possible. I guess it is possible. Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being that bad.
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. But anyway, let's dive into Rolex. We obviously had the 24-hour this past weekend. David was there. I was watching on TV, as per usual. I don't really like to go to the Rolex rather.
Yeah. Are you going to go to Sebring this year?
Planning on it.
Yeah, I was going to say with the doubleheader.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Opportunity to see the Toyota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the idea. I'm going to go because it's the weekend of, I think, March 16th, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So I plan on going.
Have you been to the 12-hour?
Sebring?
Yeah.
Yeah, twice.
Did you go with us once? I can't remember.
I went with Drake. You weren't there that year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was the year it absolutely poured, and Drake and I got really drunk off of Bud Light Limes because we were next to Budweiser.
When he had the Abarth.
Yeah.
That's funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we opened his tailgate, and empty bottles actually fell out of the tailgate. Actually, Drake might have been sitting in the driver's seat. I opened the tailgate and bottles fell out.
I see. But yeah, we were at the Rolex, and
it rained.
Yeah, it was cold. It was wet. It wasn't too miserable. I have had worse Rolex 24s.
Yeah.
Particularly one year where it's truly the coldest I've ever felt.
So for people up north or from northern areas, whether you're in Northern Europe or Northern United States, and you hear cold from Floridians, I understand your skepticism, right? Daytona is a new animal.
It just feels really cold.
It is a very, very cold place on a regular basis. So I lived up there for 2 years. On a regular basis, it would get within freezing temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
So I woke up one morning, it was 27 degrees. Now, there's no precipitation, so it's not snowing.
Yeah.
But it is always, at least a couple of times during the winter, it gets cold enough to the point where now if it rained or if it precipitated, you would have snow.
Yeah.
It is an exceptionally cold place of Florida. It was cold this weekend. I was monitoring the temperatures. I've never watched the radar so much in my life during a race. But I was watching the radar, and it was overnight. I think it was just barely in the 30s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was around 36, 38, something like that. And then it started to get back up to the 40s. That's what they were saying with the tires. It was actually more effective during the broadcast. You probably didn't hear this because you were you were at the race. But during the broadcast, they were saying that it was actually more effective for them to double stint the tires because they were staying warm. And warm, worn tires were more beneficial than super
going out on
cold,
fresh tires.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was that cold.
Jeez. Yeah, no,
because they don't have tire warmers in IMSA.
Yeah.
It's not Formula One.
Yeah, dude, I had long sleeve shirt. I had a normal jacket, and then I had a heavy jacket, and then I had a rain jacket on, and it was freezing.
Yeah.
Had a beanie on, the hood, everything. Yep. And the second day was just it. The first day was great, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
The racing was fantastic. It was really close.
And I think that's something to be said about the rain too. Everybody, there was a 100% chance of rain.
Yeah,
everybody knew it was coming. So I think what happened early on in the race, and I think you saw that precedent set, especially by Mazda, which we'll dive into shortly. Yeah. But Mazda in particular went, we got to go haul ass because if we can stay ahead now or gain a lap on the field now, that'll be so beneficial when the rain comes, because chaos is going to ensue when the rain comes.
Oh, yeah.
But we got 5 inches of rain here in Fort Myers on my golf course. We got 5 inches of rain.
Wow.
I would imagine Daytona got relatively close amount to that, maybe more.
Yeah, it's funny because I've seen pictures, because we got there at like 9 a.m. We were up at like 7, and then we looked outside. We saw it was red flag, and we were like, all right, we'll just take our time. And then, we get there around 9 o'clock. It was still red flag. But the rain when we were there was not that bad, actually. It was sort of a drizzle.
Like it was continuous.
Yeah, you could stand out in the rain. You wouldn't necessarily get drenched. But if you're out there for like an hour, you'd end up soaked.
Right.
And it's just everything they were trying to do at turn 1, because we were right on the outside of turn 1 watching. And they had the jet dryers and, they're trying to do everything to get the water off the braking zones and stuff. And it was just totally futile.
It was turn 1, and then apparently the entire left half side of the bus stop. So the actual bus stop itself.
The line was okay.
The little bit of the straight, yeah.
Okay.
The line was okay, but the problem is you need the outside to pass there, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what the DPI cars are going to be using. totally flooded, like inches of water. And there was nothing they could do. Every single part of the program, all the announcers, like even Calvin Fish was saying, this is the worst I have ever seen Daytona. And he said it's not because of drainage, it's just because it has not stopped raining.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is it wasn't raining that heavy. It just never stopped.
Yeah, it was
never stopped.
The whole, as soon as from 7 a.m. when we looked out the door of the hotel to when we left. We left I think an hour and a half before, or no, 2 hours before the race ended. It was raining the entire time. Rained the entire way home. It was still raining when I left. And it was it just it really sucked the second day.
Yeah, it did.
But when they did go green flag, it was actually pretty entertaining from our standpoint.
So they made an announcement. I don't know where you were within the last hour of the race. Were you back here? Or
no, we were driving.
Okay.
And we were listening to the radio, and literally every 10 seconds, it was Radio Le Mans. They were like, oh, we got a car off on turn 1. It's this car, blah, blah. Oh, we got a car off at the bus stop. We got a car off over here. Every 10 seconds, there was somebody off track.
I think they red flagged at the 2 hour mark. 2 hours remaining, right around there.
Yeah.
And then they made an announcement with about 45 minutes remaining.
Yeah.
They were red flag from the 2 hour mark to like a full hour at least of red flag.
Yeah.
And they made an announcement that we're going to decide whether or not this race is going to be drivable or not at the 30-minute mark, essentially.
Yeah.
Which immediately, as a racing fan, and especially an endurance racing fan, you hear, holy crap, we got a sprint race. Like this is either it's over, fine, okay, sucks, but whatever. And then the other option is this is a full-blown sprint race with the best drivers in the world.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it ended up just they pretty much red flagged it all the way to the end. But
I remember hearing that announcement, and it got down to the 30-minute mark. And personally, what I think they should have done is at least got the cars out there circulating before the announcement, so that they were actually on track. They could say, hey, okay, the conditions are pretty bad, or this is pretty flooded. But even at the 30-minute mark, they didn't have the cars circulating on track. And I was like, okay, they're going to cancel it.
Right. Well,
but when I heard that announcement, the first thing I thought of is like, oh my God, if they go green with 30 minutes left, it's going to be total chaos.
Yeah, but that's
total chaos.
But is that not what you want as a racing fan?
Oh, I wanted it to go green the whole time. From my perspective.
But in particular, with 30 minutes remaining. So if you're going to red flag,
you're going to
go, I get a 30-minute sprint race.
Yeah. Like no, it would have been amazing to watch. There would have been a really bad accident in turn 1 though. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, me and Drake were there. Like, we were kind of complaining about the red flag, and you can say what you want. But from our perspective, we're thinking, they're racing drivers. This is the risk that you deal with, and honestly, like from our perspective, again, I wasn't watching on the cameras and stuff, but being there, looking at the conditions, we were watching turn 1. People were going off all over the place, but a lot of people weren't. So clearly, it was possible. You just had to be smart. And I think people were just pushing too hard, or I don't know what, But at the same time, it's like, look, you're a racing driver. You need to go racing.
Yeah.
At some point,
So I was on that camp until I heard an interview with Roger Penske where he said, this is dangerous. We shouldn't have anybody out there. There's an 80-year-old man going, no, this is not acceptable. He's watched how many thousands of races in his career, right?
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, they interviewed Wayne Taylor afterwards. And Wayne Taylor was saying, this is the first time I've ever had any driver call me on the radio and say, I need to do something to get this race stopped. I'm scared. I'm essentially scared of driving right now. This is a dangerous thing. And that was Fernando Alonso who called Wayne Taylor going, this is bad. Like somebody's going to get seriously hurt. And the amount of money that is going to be dumped into fixing these cars, the costs essentially of the crashes and stuff like that are going to occur are way too high. I mean, look, Tommy Milner is one of the best drivers out there.
Yeah.
Smoked the Corvette.
Yeah, into
turn 1.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed the thing.
No, I understand.
It's just like at the end of the day, they had no business being out there. It's unfortunate, but there's no way around it. I totally agree with the fact that they pulled them. And with that said, I mean, it's like the biggest takeaways I take from this event is I think IMSA did as good of a job as they could possibly be asked to do.
Yeah.
And that there is a really, really big difference between the best driver in the world and really, really good drivers. Fernando Alonso was so much faster than everyone on that track, including his teammates. It's not even funny.
Well, I
was shocked by it.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I don't know if you follow Jordan Taylor's Instagram. If you don't, you should. He's hilarious.
He is absolutely fun. And his whole Rodney Sandstorm thing is amazing. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. It's funny because we were watching, I think we were in the stands. This is going to make no sense unless you've been to Daytona. Outside of the horseshoe, but sort of halfway to the kink, the big grandstand.
Yep.
We were on that, and it's an awesome vantage point. You can see almost the entire track.
You really can.
And when Alonso came out that night, he was in 4th place. And within like 20 minutes, we were watching him pass everybody and ended up in 1st place.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram, Jordan Taylor, he posted, and he's like, "Hey, this Alonso guy's pretty good." Well, we put him in the car in 4th. Now he's in 1st. He's like, Jordan Taylor is impressed.
I've never been so surprised at a certain driver's ability to pass people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are great passes, right? All of us have watched enough racing to go, that's a great pass. Wow, that was an amazing move. Oh, he got him here.
Mm-hmm.
It was lap after lap after lap. Alonso was so far and away faster than everybody else on the field. It's not even funny. Like, I think Kobayashi ended up having the fastest lap in the same car.
Yeah.
And Kobayashi was really fast too, but also ex-Formula 1 driver.
Yeah.
Alonso was just picking off second after second after second. And the only guy on the entire track that could compete with him was Felipe Nasser in the Acura.
Yeah.
Another ex-Formula 1 driver who probably didn't get enough of a chance. And I was really glad to hear Lee Diffie actually, during the broadcast, Lee Diffie was like, this is probably he actually said, the 2 drivers we've talked about before, he said Felipe Nasser and Jean-Eric Vergne are the 2 guys that never got enough of a chance in Formula 1.
Yeah.
And it's true. And you just saw, you watched Felipe Nasser that whole time, especially when it got wet. Felipe Nasser and Fernando Alonso were by far the 2 best drivers out there, and no one had an answer.
That's the thing. I was thinking to myself, in Formula 1, I feel like, I don't know if it's the tires or maybe it's just because they have more aero, but they seem to cope in the rain much better than the sports cars.
They got a ton more aero. They do.
Yeah. And I don't know if that helps evacuate the water off the track and you end up with a really nice dry line, or if the car's just so much more stable.
It's going to help you at slower speeds. I mean, just any bit more downforce you're going to get. Like, obviously, you're going to get more downforce. It's going to amplify exponentially. You know this.
Yeah.
As you go faster, but still, some downforce is better than none downforce.
Yeah. But I was just impressed because they seemed, watching Fernando drive, it seemed like he was unstoppable. And I don't like saying that because it's
effortlessly
but that's what it seemed
fast.
Like. It just seemed you're watching him tail somebody. You're like, you just knew that in 2 laps he would be around him.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, oh, is he going to get him here? Is he going to get there? You're just like, it's going to happen.
That's the thing is, I don't. So the entire race, he was the fastest guy, and the entire race he made a bunch of passes. But I don't ever remember him making a pass that was sketchy. Right?
No, it just seemed like, oh, there's a guy. I'll go through here.
Yep.
I'll do that.
Yeah, he just made another pass here, and he made another pass there, and another pass there, and he never got stuck.
He made it look easy.
Yeah, he didn't make a bad decision in traffic. It's weird.
But going back to the whole rain thing, I mean, I did see it. We saw a lot of weird things. Like we were seeing, good drivers go off. One of the Porsches spun under the pace car. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
He got stuck on the bank. Looked kind of embarrassing.
It was really unfortunate because he got stuck. So the diffuser was caught on the low side of the bank, and his splitter was caught on the high side of the bank, and his rear wheels were not actually touching the ground.
And then when he finally got it going, he basically just did a burnout and body slammed the cat.
I was trying to pick him up, but he rolled over.
But he finally got on the bank, just basically did a big burnout and couldn't get up the bank.
Right.
And he had to come back down and hit it at speed.
Yeah.
And, seeing stuff like that, you're like, okay, the conditions are bad.
I'm sure at this point you've seen the gif of the R8 just doing a massive burnout in the puddle.
No.
There's a great gif of an R8. He got stuck, I think, at the kink of the between the horseshoes.
Oh, okay.
And he went to pull back out, and there's a big puddle, and he's just doing a gigantic burnout for like 10 seconds, and he's moving.
Like, go.
He's going nowhere, but it's a great gif.
I did see a few replays because Daytona's great because they have screens everywhere, so we could see some replays.
It's just a phenomenal event. It really is.
And I did see a replay of some of the cars when they get in the grass. They were just flooring it. They're like, "Please get me out of here." But no. Going back to the conditions, I would have liked to have seen more green flag, further from the end of the race. I think they could have circulated the cars. As you get closer toward the end and people get more desperate, it definitely gets more dangerous. But when it's still an endurance race, I think the conditions were okay.
The problem with it is that the conditions themselves.
Was it the spray or was it the puddles?
No, the conditions themselves. Literally the weather. The way that it came in is the worst case scenario for any sort of drainage, regardless of whether or not you're doing it on a racetrack or like we fight this on a golf course on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So if you get a downpour first.
Oh, and it filled everything up, and then
it fills everything up, and then it remains steady.
I see.
And that's the problem, is it was a torrential downpour overnight, right? And then it was just steady rain, steady rain, steady rain, steady rain. And it never got an opportunity to drain. And when it did get an opportunity to drain, you all of a sudden got you got another downpour. Like, I think at the hour and a half mark or something like that, there was another major downpour that came in, and it just dumped a whole bunch of water. And that's when they were like, well, we can't do, what is there left to do at this point?
Yeah.
But it is really interesting because Florida doesn't rain in the winter, right?
No.
But how many times have we watched a wet Rolex?
Oh, it seems like every time to me.
It does.
I expect it when I go there. I'm like, it's going to be cold. It's going to be wet every time. But
it was cold and wet when I worked it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the same thing every time. So but nonetheless, it was a great race. I am super, super excited for
Sebring?
For IMSA just in general this season. Yeah, Sebring obviously, but IMSA in general this season.
Mm-hmm.
The cars look insanely close, like really, really close, and the teams are as good as you can ask for.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, Fernando Alonso is not with the team the whole year. I think he's just doing the 24-hour.
Well, I'd imagine definitely not at Sebring because wouldn't he be in the Toyota?
Likely,
right?
Likely. I don't know. I mean, so I've got the list of names here. You've got. See, here's the thing: is you look at all these other teams, and then look at the team that finished first, right? How many names are there?
4.
How many names are there on the rest of the DPI teams?
Mostly
3. There's a couple of them that have some different ones, but what I have a feeling is the DPI team for the Cadillac number 10, the Konica Minolta car that ended up winning, is going to be Gumi Kobayashi, Jordan Taylor, and Reger van de Zender, which that has got to be one of the best names in racing, by the way. But Alonso will likely not be racing with the team the whole year. I can't imagine he is, especially considering he's planning on doing IndyCar. But even that team there, Gumi Kobayashi, Jordan Taylor, and Reger van de Zender is a great team. Pippo Durrani, Eric Caron, and Felipe Nasser, really fast team. Maybe the most talented driver lineup there is. Rossi, Castroneves, and Taylor, loaded. Barrichello is not going to be racing with them the whole year. Goikenberg and Vautier, I don't even know how to say his name. I don't think I even recognized him in the car at all. But DeFrancesco, another really solid team. The thing is, you start to go through this list and you go, God damn, that's a really good team.
I'm surprised.
Oh God, that's a really good team.
I'm surprised Crash Door didn't crash the car. I didn't even know he was there.
To be completely honest with you, throughout the entire broadcast, I don't remember him ever being in the car.
They're like, hey, man, it's wet out there. We know your reputation.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to sit this one out.
The funny thing is, so when they put out, which, by the way, maybe the most loaded lineup.
Look at all the ex-F1 drivers.
They're all over the place. But possibly the most loaded lineup is the number 6 Acura car, which had JPM, Simone Pagenaud, and Dane Cameron. Like, seriously good team. When they put JPM out to start the race, and he made, like, all these moves, all the announcers like, hell, JPM's out there again. Like, he's just, 100% of the time, no questions asked.
Yeah.
And it really is an interesting thing. But I'm super excited for this IMSA season because these cars are close, the drivers are loaded. Even the GTLM class is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, Porsche was the fastest on the straights. Ferrari was the fastest in the wet. Corvette was the fastest in the corners, actually, surprisingly. I don't know how the hell they did that. So you had all these different kind of scenarios that just didn't make any sense at all. And the 4 GTs were kind of balanced all around. If anything, I'm sitting back after this race, and if the BOP touches the GTLM class, they've done it wrong. Because the team that ended up winning was BMW, and that was kind of fluky.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. I mean, the GTLM class is so balanced right now. It's so perfect.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like that got me thinking. I wonder what it'd be like to see some of these star lineups in the DPI cars in the GT cars. That'd be really interesting. I would love to see Alonso in like.
You know how much they'd be banging into each other? Like, could you imagine JPM and Alonso on the same track together?
I honestly, I can't imagine what it would be like.
They'd be hitting each other left and right.
Well,
I mean, it's just.
Let's hope that one day they'll all race in the Bathurst.
Wouldn't that be nice? So yeah, the next race is Sebring.
Okay.
It is 40 days away. Just looking it up on the phone.
It's not that long.
It's not that long, but it is really long when you consider that's the next calendar race for the season. So,
yeah.
But I will be there. I'm planning on going. I'll buy a ticket.
I'll be there.
I would imagine David's going to be there. Drake is obviously going to be there, considering he lives all of a couple of minutes away.
Yeah.
So we'll plan to be there. We'll likely. I would imagine we'll probably camp out there. I would think. I mean, it depends.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Drake lives what, 40 minutes away?
Not that far.
Either way, we'll figure it out from there. I'll buy an RV.
RV?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll dive into our list really quickly, and then we'll end the episode because this one has been long. Where the hell is my mouse?
Don't know.
There it is. So on this list, we have our typical road and track list because this has become a staple for our podcast. This is the 10 performance cars you can drive throughout the winter. Figured it was a pretty fitting list given the temperatures currently in the upper Midwest and even Northeast. Hang on, I'm curious. What's your guess? What do you think it is right now in the Midwest in Ann Arbor, Michigan? It's my hometown, so I'm gonna look that up.
-15.
-15. Let's see. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's -5.
Oh, that's nothing.
It's fine. Yeah. That's all right. It was -20 earlier today, but anyway. So yeah, top 10 performance cars you can drive throughout the winter. I would imagine this is in no particular order. This article by Chris Perkins on Road and Track. We'll go into the first car, the Subaru WRX STI. We expected to see this.
That's
if
the
it's
gold
not,
standard.
Yeah, if it's not on the list, like if the Evo and the 911 Turbo are not on the list, what the hell is?
Or even just a Carrera 4.
Carrera 4 would also work. Yeah. But the Subaru WRX STI comes with an excellent all-wheel drive system that puts its 305 turbocharged horsepower down in any condition. There's a reason the rally drivers and ice racers love these things. They're made for the winter. Can't disagree there. All right.
Ooh.
That is an interesting one. I'm not going to disagree. Not going to disagree. I do think the FF, I will make a caveat, the FF is a better looking car.
I agree.
So the Ferrari GTC 4 Lusso. A Ferrari in the winter, it can be done. The GTC 4 Lusso has a super neat all-wheel drive system that's unlike anything else out there, minus the FF.
Well, I get it's sort of an evolution of the FF, I guess.
And a factory spec of Pirelli's Sota Zero winter tires available. But to put the car in snow and ice mode, it's so friendly, you'll never believe that it has 680 horsepower. Truly, it is a year-round Ferrari. Not wrong.
Man, 680 horsepower.
I've always told Jill, I said, if I have unlimited amounts of money, your mommy car to take the kids to work every day is going to be an FF. I don't see that happening, but
you don't know.
So anyway, here's one we did list beforehand, David in particular, the Porsche 911 Carrera 4. The 911 has always been a great winter car thanks to its traction advantage that comes with having the engine behind the rear axle. Add all-wheel drive system to the mix, and there won't be much to stop you. You can even drive a 911 Turbo S on ice, and trust me, it's a hoot. That's the one thing that has always surprised me. Even you read any of the forums and stuff like that. All the guys that have their Caymans up north, they put winter tires on them. Fine.
Really?
They like no problems at all. They're not slipping or anything. There's just so much weight in the back. They're okay. And that kind of explains this car, I would imagine. Another 4-wheel drive mid to rear engine vehicle, the Audi R8. There are not many bona fide supercars that can handle winter weather, but the Audi R8 is one of them. In keeping with brand tradition, it has an all-wheel drive system, and it's not low or delicate like most, I gotta scroll down, supercars.
Real quick tangent. Me and Drake were actually discussing this, and we were trying to figure out what our winter beaters would be. And the first thing that came to mind for me was an Audi TT.
I mean,
because I wouldn't care about it, but I feel like it would be pretty fun, and it's all-wheel drive.
Yeah, it depends on the amount of money you're trying to spend. And prior to the boom that the 996 turbos have found, I would have said 996 turbo.
Yeah, they're really expensive.
They have all of a sudden.
They're all over 50, right?
I haven't seen them. I mean, I'm sure they're that high, but I've seen some lower.
Yeah, they used to be in the 30s. And
but
now they're
yeah,
crazy.
they were down. I mean, you could get them in the high 20s for a while, and that's when I would have said, yeah, that's a great winter car. Now it doesn't really work anymore.
No.
So I'll just take a Bug-Eye Subaru because I don't give a damn.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of it. Part of it, it sort of needs to be crap,
Right.
And you just need it. Like, I want to be able to kick the door and go, huh, that was fun.
Yeah,
exactly.
So next one on the list, we have the wow. Okay.
I'm not so sure about that.
The McLaren 570S. Now you must think I'm crazy, but hang on. McLaren actually offers a set of winter tires for the 570S and 570 GT, meaning you don't have to put away this exotic after Thanksgiving, even though it's only rear-wheel drive. Just make sure your 570S has a factory nose lift kit, otherwise you may find yourself stuck.
I don't think just because it has winter tires available means that you can drive it in the snow. I don't think that's how that works.
So I would imagine this car is equally or slightly less capable in the snow than a Cayman or Boxster. But it costs a whole hell of a lot more than either of those. So when you park it in the snow, you've screwed up.
Yeah, to me, a winter car, though, has to be able to be driven in the snow. Like, you can drive any car on winter tires when it's cold.
I can't help but, and maybe this is the Floridian in me, that has been ingrained in me over the years of living here. I just think about rust in years. Just after a couple of years, like this thing would never see snow and salt in its life. If I owned that car, that thing would never be out of the salt or snow.
No. Yeah.
So so therefore it's not a justifiable. Like, who gives a shit if your 996 turbo is rusted? Seriously, like,
I feel like I would care
a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you'd go, oh no, it's rusted. Maybe I'll repair it, but it's not like. You see one speck of rust on that car. Do you not immediately go, I need to go take it and get it fixed?
I don't think carbon fiber really rusts all that much.
But the entire car is in carbon fiber. There's still steel there.
I don't know. I'd be curious to see how much steel's actually in it.
Maybe. And if that's the case,
it is a carbon tub.
If that's the case, you may have proven me incorrect. No, I'm not willing to. Anyway.
This is interesting.
Tesla Model S. It is a 4-wheel drive thing, isn't it?
I think you can get them in 4-wheel drive.
Tesla Model S and Model X and Model 3, when optioned, all has all-wheel drive courtesy of an electric motor for each axle. This allows for very precise traction control, which is set up well by Tesla engineers. Plus, their air suspension can help you get out of trouble too.
Probably true.
Yeah. I would imagine this is a great car. It really is a great car all around.
Yeah.
Shockingly small, like not tall people friendly, even kind of. By the way, but
yeah.
I think I've talked about that before on the podcast. My head hits the roof in every single seat. Every seat. Mercedes
E63. They're all-wheel drive now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Because nothing about a giant V8 and lots of horsepower and torque says to me great road snow car.
But personally, I'd have gone with the wagon version.
Yeah.
As the winter car. I don't know. It just seems right.
Right. And so anyway, the Mercedes-AMG E63S. The E63 is one of those do-everything cars. It's luxurious, techy, fast, thanks to a 603 horsepower twin-turbo V8, and in its wagon guise, practical. AMG gave the new E63 a fully variable all-wheel drive system that works wonders. So it should handle the winter with no trouble. Yeah, I mean it's all-wheel drive is the thing. Here's the problem though. This is one of the things that people need to recognize. For anybody that has not driven in the winter, winter tires are more crucial than all-wheel drive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be smart about your tires, then go from there.
Coming from someone who's driven on normal tires in a freezing rainstorm, didn't go well.
No. So anyway, the Volkswagen Golf R, obviously another four-wheel drive vehicle. The front-wheel drive Volkswagen GTI makes a fine winter car, but you might have a bit more fun and grip in the all-wheel drive Golf R. It's not as playful as the WRX STI or dearly departed Focus RS, but the Golf R is still quick. I would imagine it's probably more playful than an STI. I'm sorry. Just
probably not. Why would it be?
Playful, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
It's better. I would imagine that we're going to see the Focus RS on this list soon.
Hopefully not.
Okay, another GTI Golf R. Really, it's a Golf R.
Yeah, but the RS3, you get the 5-cylinder.
Yeah, it's
so you can live out your Audi Quattro fantasies.
Yeah, you can. The Audi RS3. So the Audi RS3 rides on the same platform as the Golf R and uses a similar all-wheel drive system, but it ditches the 4-cylinder for a 400 horsepower turbo 5-cylinder. The power is great, and it sounds, but the sound that makes, but it's the sound that makes this special. I'm sorry. I found out where that sentence was going. It's not how I would have phrased it personally, but it lets you live out your 1980s rally driver fantasies.
See?
For more style, get a TTRS with the same drivetrain.
Disagree.
Okay. I mean, you kind of lose the rally aspect of it, don't you?
Yeah.
And last one on the list, not what I expected.
That really threw me off.
Threw me for a loop and a half. All right, the Ford Fiesta ST. At any rally in the U.S., you're bound to see a lot of WRX STIs, obviously, but you might be surprised to find a ton of Ford Fiestas. Why? They make excellent rally cars. We recommend the Fiesta ST for the most fun.
Why do they make excellent rally cars?
I'm pretty sure Road and Track in general just recommends the Fiesta ST for everything.
Seriously.
I mean, when was the last time we didn't see an Fiesta ST on this list? I think it was on the list for the 80s supercars.
But they didn't say why. I mean, that's weird. Yeah. I have a concession to make, though.
Ooh. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Have you seen the updated Fiesta?
No.
We're not getting it, so it doesn't matter. Okay. But it's actually really good looking.
Yeah.
They fixed the interior.
Okay.
And they fixed the suspension. So it's actually a probably pretty good car.
What about the most problematic thing in the entire car?
The seats?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all fixed. And it got a cool 3-cylinder turbo. So it sounds cool.
Huh.
But we're not getting it.
Huh.
So
shocking. Isn't it funny that the American company,
American
company, I use that very loosely, but the American company is not sending the Americans the best product.
I know.
But anyway, I should probably do it for our podcast. So go follow us on all of our social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, please. That helps us a lot. That lets us know who's here, who's listening, all that kind of stuff. Same thing with iTunes. There is nothing that helps this program more than subscribing on iTunes. Those of you that are trying to come up with some reason to help us out, we don't ask for donations. We're not on Patreon. We're not doing any of that kind of stuff. We've literally never sold you a product a day in our lives. The thing you can do to help us is subscribe to the program on iTunes. Go steal your mother's phone and subscribe. She probably doesn't even use the podcast app. So as long as you subscribe, it will help us. It's little things like that. Okay. So just go there, subscribe. I don't care if you rate us. That doesn't matter that much. iTunes doesn't care about that. So subscriptions are what matters to us. Go subscribe on iTunes. Go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Throughout the race, this past 24 hour, I was posting a lot on Twitter. It's really easy for me to just post a text post and say, hey, this is what happened. For those of you that may not actually be able to follow the race because you're driving or something like that, but you do follow us on Twitter. That's a really great way for me to get you some more access, especially if we're, if we're at the race or something like that and we hear something because we talked to a driver, I can give you a direct quote from X driver or something like that. So follow us on all of our social media, please. That will help immensely. Outside of that, David, end us on a single word.
I don't know why. Subaru was the first thing that came to my mind.
All right, Subaru it is. Alrighty, and live stream. Thank you guys for all tuning in. I do appreciate it. We will see you next week at the same time.